Okay. So in the book, there's a Jafakan race, and he talks about mastering yourself. He is a sentinel, and he has very strong beings, and they have a very interesting shaped head. They're not scary, but they're just different than the humans. And you might read it in a couple of the chapters of how we as human beings need to learn to bring it down and bring us down and not being so here, there, and everywhere. And we need to start gathering focus on who we are, what we are. And I just did.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. I am Sharon Sananda Kumara, and I am your host today. Welcome to Ascension Gateway. Today, I can't say how excited I am because it's over the top. I am here with Robyn. Hi, Robyn.
Hi.
Hi. Robyn Hyatt. She wrote the book, The Benevolent: Illustrations and Messages for Mankind.
Yeah.
Yes. And it blew my mind. So I'm like, and then we came across each other some way, somehow. And I'm like, can you please be on my show? Because I love your book so much. And I mean, as you can see, I've marked so many,
I love that.
pages.
Actually, I should mark my book. I just folded down the pages.
I do that too.
It's my book. I
Yeah,
can do it.
right.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
So thank you for being here, Robyn. Can you just start sharing your journey with this book and how you maybe got to writing this book for us?
Sure. I have a YouTube channel, Robyn Hyatt, the Blue Star. And actually, it started out, I have done where I have worked with detectives. I, s- my whole life evolved around seeing spirits that have been deceased, that were missing, um, mostly through bad means. And so I started working with detectives. I started in locally with detectives on a cold case, and actually it was an active case. And this girl came to me and she told me where she was, and et cetera, et cetera. So then I just gave the information to our local police, and it just happened that a girl I worked with knows a detective on the case. I told her about it, and so the detective immediately came over to my house, and I shared all my information, and he was kind of blown away. And he came over a couple times because the situation was going into a bigger situation that was not good. So anyway, um, long story short, I worked in cold cases, and then I started going national. And I was working on a cold case in Chicago of a unfortunate young man that was stabbed to death, and they just want to know who did it. And so I think we did a good I did a good job on that one. Um, but it brought through a white Sasquatch.
Mm.
I all of a sudden had this white Sasquatch appearing in front of me, and I thought, what the heck? What is this? It's like, what? And it didn't scare me. And the Sasquatch started talking to me. And her name is Ntil, and I named her White Canada because she was like from Canada and she was a white Sasquatch. And I just said, what information you're giving me, I just can't keep it to myself. I have to put this somewhere. I have to let people know these messages, and whatever is coming through me, I got to do. And, my calling just switched. And it was funny. This white Sasquatch said, you have two options now. You can stay working with the deceased in the route you're going, or you can work with the living. And now is your choice. You need to choose. And so I said, I think I want to work with the living. And so I switched gears and then started my channel and started channeling. And I never had channeled, but I think when you work with cold cases, you kind of are channeling. You are actually channeling where you don't really realize it. Um, and so I do readings now. I never did readings before, and they are turning out amazing. And I even shock myself. I mean, I'm going, wow, that I learned so much about the other side of people, and that means like intergalactic, or even one girl I did a reading for, her and I are connected, and we found out why, and we had to do a couple of things together, and it's like, oh my gosh, and we are gonna, walk side by side sometime in this life, that she's going to be my energy source for me, as I go through what I'm going to go through. And then I met my soul, um, I what do I want to say, twin soul, my friend. He's been around me for a couple years, and he helps me on my meetup group. And he and I are meant to work together. And so I believe with my relationship with him, he lives on the whole other side of the country, and I live on the other side, but we communicate, and he's kind of pushed me to go deeper. He challenged me, he kept challenging me, go, you can go deeper, you can go into more. And I don't know if he realized he was doing that, but he was, because I was kind of staying in the safe zone of my channeling. And so he's kind of telling me to go deep dive, go in on the benevolent side only. And so I think he has been a lot of my strength. And I think him and I did this book together. It wasn't just me, it was my channeling, my art. I did automatic writing, but he edited this whole book. So it took two of us, it took a year to do this book. And we both had the same vision. And it had to come out. We actually had a date that it needed to come out. We went past that date because we kept adding, more species. I go, oh, I saw someone today, I got to draw them. And so I would channel like 3 species almost a day after work, and then draw them. And he goes, how do you draw them so fast? I go, I don't know. It's just coming out of me. So
That's awesome. I love that. I can, with my journey, I can definitely relate to the channeling, how quick it is that because you're channeling higher frequencies, so you have to do something. It has to come through pretty quick, and that's how I feel too. And what's really crazy is when I got your book and went and read it, there's so many species in here, and how they describe themselves that correlated to my experiences with some of the beings that I've been in contact with and remembered.
I love that.
Yeah, and so that really blew my mind. There's just I mean, it's amazing. And it only took a year, that's all. Good for you. That's pretty
We,
quick.
yeah, he and I worked like boom, boom, and it just went in sync. We were in sync, um, and we just worked really smooth together with it, and it was just meant to happen. And I can't believe we worked both of him. He has a really prominent job, and how we both worked together to get this done, and it didn't kill us.
Right.
We still had energy to live. So yes, I really appreciate him, because he really did great editing on it, and the structure of it. I didn't know how to do any of that. I'm just
Hmm.
the artist. He's
Hmm.
the see with him and I'm the oracle, and he's the intelligence, and so it works really well.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm not intelligent, but he has deeper intelligence than I do.
Left brain, more
Yes,
left brain
yes,
than the right.
yeah,
Oracle's the more in the right brain, right? And I've
yeah,
got goosebumps. So would you say you're an Oracle of Venus?
yes,
Okay. I
yes.
feel
Of
like I am
training,
too.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
most oracles are. It just depends what level that
Yeah.
you attain. And
Right.
some don't go past, like Venus 9 or so. Um, and I don't know how far, but it just depends on the training. And I think species of the benevolent, who are oracles, I think every prominent species um, has an oracle. I even believe Jesus Christ had oracle. I believe Mary Magdalene and
Yes.
yes. Oracle. I really believe that these women had vision, and they
Hmm.
had a calling, help lead him, guide him, protect him, and honor him and push him forward and be there when he, maybe helps, or et cetera, et
Mhm.
cetera. They were his oracle and they surrounded him.
Yeah, that's probably why he had so many women around him.
Yes. Yes.
Right? Yeah. I love, I just love it all. But I just have to say, I'm so excited. You have Sanandi in here. Yeah. It's like,
Yes,
and
definitely.
he's taken me to Venus so many times, Yashua Sananda, in my meditations, and took me to a home there and everything. And for those of you that are wondering about the oracles of Venus, Robyn does have a section there with oracles of Venus in her book,
Yes.
right? Yeah. And it,
Yes.
okay. Um, one thing that really blew my mind, and I'm interrupting you here, but I have to tell you, or I have
Okay.
to tell the audience, because we may have talked about this, but I had an out of body experience where I came across these beings that had a square head. You call
The
them
Glocks.
the Glocks. Yes. I didn't know who they were, but they were not, here it is, Glock race. Yeah. There we go.
Oh, oh, you can see it. Yes.
Yeah.
I saw them too.
I, I, I didn't know who they were. This was about maybe 3 or 4 years ago when I had this out of body experience. 8 feet, and they were 8 feet tall. There was also shorter ones too, but there was a really, in my experience, there was a tall one that was leading them, and their
Mm-hmm.
heads swiveled, like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they looked around where I was. I felt like I was with some others, and we were doing things in this place, this grant, this, I don't know what it was, some kind of facility, and I felt like they were that they were how do I put it?
Because they're
Checking to see that
intelligent.
everything, yeah, they're checking to see that everything was going right,
Yeah.
picking up
Yeah.
data, gathering
That's what
data.
they
There
are.
we go. Gathering data. And then you said in here, and it just blows my mind. I mean, who sees these
I
things?
know that's and out of the whole book, you picked the square head ones. I went because okay, so my experience when I start having visions is my first question. Of course, when you start having your psychic abilities, you go, I want to know everything. I want to know everything. So I said, I want to know all the species there are. So show me. And I just thought maybe a dozen, I didn't know.
Mhm.
Um, so I have this 8x10 picture frame on my dresser. So my bed is here, which this is on my bed. And then there's a dresser with this 8x10 frame. One night I heard something go, and it woke me up. And I was facing the frame. And I was in sleep paralysis. I can't move. So there was this little ET thing sitting on my dresser, but it was sitting sideways with its head down this way. So I looked past it at the frame, and it was just like boom, 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 pictures of all these species just coming on this frame, just boom, 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 boom. And I went, and it was weird because I kept thinking, I know them. Oh, that one I don't know. Oh, I know them. That
Mhm.
that one looks really familiar. And then the square head came up, and that one just like stood out in my mind because it was a square head. I went, what the heck is that? But and some were kind of scary and some were not.
Mhm.
But I really wanted to channel that because I wanted to know who they were, and that's what came out of me that they were called the Glocks. Now, the Glocks that I saw, and I'm sure there's different ones, they go on to every main ship. They're like data for each ship. I think you only need one, and they're like a walking computer. And if you need direction in either military strategy, who's coming in the star system, bad, good, what do we need to do? My Glock that I saw, that their head was like it didn't turn, but the face would go to the side, it go to the back, it go to the other. So if you were walking on the side, the Glock's face would be facing you on the side of its head.
Okay,
Or it
maybe
could
that's
be,
what I
it
was
could be,
seeing. Mhm.
or it could be, the face could be on all sides. So I think it could do multi people at the same time. It can help many different species. That's why it's square.
That's
So
what
if
was
that
so
sounds,
weird when I was seeing him. It was the way the way his head was, where he could be in every direction.
mm-hmm.
And I may have seen it wrong, where I thought his just assumed his head was turning, right?
And
But
yeah,
I do
exactly.
remember there was something weird about where his head was, where his
Yeah,
face
because
was.
his face can be in the front, the side, the back. And he
Yeah.
could be working with all different people in every direction.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
That's so cool. Another thing that I wanted to mention, I just realized it this morning as I was going through your book again, is the Pleiadian race. And you
mhm.
write in here, and I had memories of this many, many, many years ago, that in order to have children, we had to put in a request from the council, from the higher beings in our,
Yep.
in our culture.
Yes. Yes.
And you write about that.
I do. Um, and for the planet's name is, there's a planet that they go to when it's time, and it's kind of a celebration. And they go into this mountain, and this mountain is a fertility mountain. And I think it's the first thing you'll ever read of how sacred this time is.
Yes. I
It's
remember
very
how sacred it
sacred.
is. Yes.
Yes, the getting pregnant and having a baby is sacred, and it's thought of, and it's wanted, and it's directed, and then they actually stay there. I think, oh, if I remember correctly, the children go with the men when they are raised a little bit, and then the men start training their children. So, the wife, I don't know, she's doing something maybe on the planet, but the children go with the father if he's on a ship or whatever, that they go and they start their training, their
Mm,
spiritual training.
mhm.
And I know with my personal experience, I and my twin, when we were old enough and we always stayed together, we went on the Palladian planet, and that was our training. That was our first training planet, in
Oh,
training in spiritualism, training in psychicness, training in combat, even because Palladians are great warriors,
yeah.
and just in training to work with our senses, and with the abilities that we had. They knew our abilities and how to control them. And I think this is a big thing I want to talk about today, is how we as humans need to master ourselves. That's
Good.
something I really want to talk about today too.
Let's talk about it.
Okay. So in the book, there's a Jafakan race, and he talks about mastering yourself. He is a sentinel, and he's very strong beings, and they have a very interesting shaped head. They're not scary, but they're just different than the humans. And you might read it in a couple of the chapters of how we as human beings need to learn to bring it down and bring us down, and not being so here, there, and everywhere. And we need to start gathering focus on who we are, what we are. And I just did a channeling, is if someone passes you, and not a human, but someone out of realm passes you, and they come up to you and go, "Who are you?" And you'd go, "What do you mean? Who are you?" That's what are you talking about? Who are you? No, they want to know, who are you? Do you really know who you are? And it is very prominent. Can I read something from the book on this?
Please,
Actually,
please do. Yeah.
he
Hmm.
said it a lot better than I can. And give me just 2 seconds. Okay.
Sure.
So this is, I don't know if you can see Jafar. And I love
Yeah.
that he wears
Yes.
like this cowl thing around his neck.
Hmm.
And he has a really good uniform. So he states, and he's a highly evolved spiritual being: when you lose control of self, it is just a natural thing to receive that control. And when he says lose control, it's like abandoning yourself. Like, there's times in your life you just can't do it. You don't know what to do, you don't know where to go, and you have to release. And a lot of times you release to God. And a lot of times I'll say, "God, I don't I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. It's not working." So I have to release it to you. So to me, that's losing control. That is giving my control to a higher being. So I say the word control because it is something that you humans understand. I have been a human before, he says. I have fought in many battles and different countries in my human form. I understand you thoroughly, he says. When you understand to control your surroundings, your situation, your mind, your thoughts, and what you see with your eyes, it is boundless. It will propel you into a different dimension if you can master self. See, this is the key to master self. It depends on you. It depends on if you are willing to put in the effort for your own self. And I feel my calling actually is to get people a step up on how to
Hmm.
master themselves because not everybody's on the same plane. And so my goal when I do either readings, books, is to step you up into a new plane of thinking and where you can think outside the box, think outside society, and think outside everything you've been taught. And think of you. What's in here? What's the God code in you? And let's step up and let's work together and let's master who you are. And once you can control your life, I know that sounds harsh, but once you can control your life, you accelerate and magical things happen all around you. There's blessings here and there, and you see them and you take them and you feel honored and gratitude, the gratitude that pours over you in your life once you have this self mastery is amazing.
Yeah, beautiful. I had to learn the hard way with that myself.
We
With
all did.
well, Yeshua working with me, and I just surrendered. I
Yeah,
surrendered. I.
completely abandoned.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I think once you get to that point, and I'm not going to say when someone becomes broken because I don't know what that means, but when you completely abandon and let go, because we all have guides, we all have sentinels, we all have oracles, we all have these beautiful spiritual beings, family around us, and they can't help us unless we let go of the control and let them help us. They can help us because they know us better than we know ourselves because we're just babies here. We're cloaked. We don't know what's going on, but they do.
Yeah.
And they said, let us guide you. They want to guide us.
Right. We were talking about that before we came on, before I started recording, is that we have so many helping us that we we probably had this conversation with our beings, with our peeps. Okay, we'll go down to that. I'll go down there, but
Yep.
you got to
Yep.
promise me that you got my back every step of the way,
Yep.
even if I diverge from what I'm supposed to be doing, or because we pick challenging experiences. I believe we pick challenging experiences so we can't to open us up, break us open, kind of thing. Like Rumi says, we have to break our heart in order to open it. Yeah.
Yep.
And
Yep.
yeah, and that's
I,
part of the game.
I do agree. And I am part of your past and my past are similar. And, you know, I always say, you know, crap happens sometimes to us and it depends what we do with that crap that matters. It is. It is. And if you can get yourself out of it and move on, wow, what a
Mhm.
great person you are. And then you need to share that with other people. You can't keep it to yourself. You have to give
Yes.
that away and help others move out of it also.
Hmm.
That's where I think you and I are twinning on that one.
I was just going to say that. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally. We're soul sisters because that's what I
yeah,
tell everybody too. You're getting through this. As you get through this, you got to share how you got through this because there's always going to be people that need that uh, to need to know that they're not going through something alone, that other people have experienced it and they were able to get through it and are on the other side of it. That's the important
yes,
part, are on the other
yes,
side of it. Yeah.
yes. And I don't want people to look at me as a perfect person. You know, you're just seeing a lot of years of work that are finalized, that are finalizing. And so, and I'm still not perfect. You know, we still fall. and that's how we learn. But if you can fall not too far, that's the key, and get back up quickly and keep going.
Yes. I always say that spiritual work isn't easy. If it was, everyone would be doing it. It
Oh, I
takes a
know.
lot of
It
it takes a lot
takes
of
time.
courage. It takes
Mhm.
time, it takes courage, it takes energy. Um yeah,
And
and it also it takes patience.
yes, and it's hard to remove yourself from the world because many people have families,
Yeah.
their direct families, husbands, wives, children, their own family, animals, responsibilities, jobs, careers. They got to
Mhm.
make money. They got to pay their house payment. There's so much for us to focus on. It's so hard to quiet that mind and bring it out of that. It's really hard.
Yeah.
So I'm simple because it's just me. But if I had a direct family, you how do you do it? You just I usually tell people go to your car, drive to a park and sit and have a moment, just
Mhm.
by yourself. If you want to listen to music, close your eyes and just try to go into the zen, and break out of everything that just happened. And then when you're all quiet and peaceful, go back home. And because you'll probably be a more calmer, if we could just really think through our heart. I think I've been watching a lot of videos on how people are so agitated and fly off the handle, and things are getting weird. You can't say this, you can't say that, you can't look at this, you can't look at that. Um, and they're getting lost in the translation. People are getting lost in the translation, and they're not thinking with their heart. Your heart is a brain. Your heart and your head are a brain. And if you can master both those and bring it out, but most of your decisions need to be from a love point and your heart, because your heart is a brain.
Yeah. It makes all the difference in the world. Not only does it help the world, but it helps us.
Yes.
It helps
Yes.
us tremendously. I was thinking, okay, do I want to be angry? Do I want to feel all tight? Do I want to, or would I rather let that go and feel better and
Hmm.
feel good about my life and know that everyone's doing the best they can? And
And
also
yeah.
have, I was just going to say, have compassion for people who are struggling,
Mhm.
that you may not agree with whatever it is that they're dealing with, but everyone has their own journey.
And I think I know this is kind of biblical, but you pray for them, you know,
Yeah, I'm
the
okay with
people
that.
that are sometimes the harshest, or if people come at you, you pray for them that you hopefully they find peace in their life and happiness. Because if you pray for them for that, then it'll just come back at you better because they'll be nicer. I know, I'm
So
kidding.
true.
But I mean, if you pray for them to that they will find their way, and they will find their happiness and their joy, and that they will maybe come to a fruition of really what they're saying and how they're hurting people. And I mean, you just pray for them. And
Hmm.
if you want to, just pray love to them.
Yeah,
And
because it's you're
maybe
praying for
that,
yourself.
hmm,
You're praying for your when you pray for someone else,
exactly,
you're praying for yourself
praying for
because we're all
yourself.
one. We're all
Yep,
one anyway.
yep,
When are we
yep.
going to figure that out?
Oh,
I
no.
just got this channel the other day, Robyn. I want to say, um,
Okay.
where uh, we are one. Um, okay, Yeshua taught me. I was just journaling, right? Each person is a part of me. Each person that comes into my awareness is what I am projecting onto the screen of my life. Any person that I come in contact with will give me either a positive or negative experience based on what I have healed within me. We are not, and I underline
Yeah,
separate. Fear is the opposite of love. What I am I afraid of? Am I afraid of my own divinity? That would be not feeling worthy of God's love. Every time I entertain a negative judgmental thought about someone, I activate an open wound that is in unhealed parts of me that where I do not feel
yeah,
worthy. Yeah.
yeah. Insecurity and insecurity that we have about
This reminds
ourselves.
me.
Yeah,
And it's you have a mermaid in here.
I do. Yes, I do.
I'm like, yes, yes,
The
yes, yes.
Yes, I do. Oh, see, I have so many. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that one. Okay, she was powerful. Let me tell you, she was powerful. She's a Nereid, the Nereid race. Yes, she's kind of almost like kind of a mermaid, but kind of not. She
Okay.
has like fairy, she has like fairy wings, and
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So if you see that, she's kind of but I do have mermaids in there, the Nereids, but
Oh,
she
I'm looking at the Akata race. Okay, so you have
yeah,
Nereds in here too. That's right.
yeah. So the Akata race, her Chunlin was amazing, but she was kind of, and those wings behind her could be energy sources that I saw coming
Yes.
out of the back, because I do believe angels, a lot of their wings that we see is like a power pack behind them. It's like energy coming out of them.
Yes.
And
And you
that's
know
what,
Elena Denon, right? You know about her, Elena Denon?
uh-huh. Hmm.
Yeah, she drew Enki with the plasma behind him that looked like wings, but it's
Yeah,
plasma. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so that might be what I was seeing with her, because I know there was like almost like a fairy look behind her. But even though she is on the mermaid side, but she
So,
was,
sorry. Okay, so you know my experiences. I went to a water world and I saw us as mermaids, which I was really scared to talk about that they're mermaids, you know. But I did it anyway. I started talking about it. So
yeah,
you're confirming for me that these beings do exist.
yes,
Yeah, and
yes.
thank you
A-
so much.
And I think not all of them are beautiful.
Yeah,
I think
I've
beauty,
experienced the others. Yeah.
yeah. They're very fish-like, humany fish. And actually, there was a video of that they actually captured one. These two guys, I don't know if they're Russian, were going down in this round thing to explore, and they were
I
going
saw
into a
that.
really deep depth. And
Hmm.
then this white thing came up like a mermaid, with a bald head and with ears, and it put its hand on the window, and it was a webbed hand, and then it pulled off and then swam off. And so it was very quick. It was only seconds long, but to me that is a was a true mermaid, or a merman on
Right.
that one. Yeah, and it was really white. Is that what the
Hmm.
one you saw?
Yes, that's the
And
video I
very
saw. That was a
fish-like.
few
Yeah,
years ago, like seven
yeah,
or 8 years
long.
ago.
Yeah,
Yeah. And they
yeah,
tried, you know, and of course they tried to debunk it and say it's all a bunch of, but it looked and felt very real to me.
yes,
And
yes.
that's one thing I remember is in the water world that I hail from, um, that my skin was pale.
Mhm.
Yeah. But the
And
the
I,
thing that stood out to me the most about my body was I was so freaking strong. I
yeah,
felt there was just pure muscle, pure
yeah.
muscle,
And how
so
fast you could
strong.
swim.
Hmm.
Did you feel the speed?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
definitely. But it was
Pretty.
natural. It was just so because you're just so strong.
And I think it's very interesting that we have intelligent beings, like almost humanoid beings in the water, and because someone has to control what's down there and the
Yeah.
ecosystem, and other UFOs. I think we have some darkness down in the waters, in caverns and things like that that have developed over the hundreds of thousands of years that they've been here forever. And so I think a lot of the Nereids and the mermaid beings are here to observe and help control and fight if necessary, if and to actually control these beings so they don't harm maybe us.
Yeah.
So
Do you,